Good evening and welcome to the Gary Common Council meeting for today, Tuesday, October 1st. As it is our custom, we will start tonight's meeting with a prayer led by Councilman at Large Darren Washington, and then we will go directly into the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, let the words of our mouth, the meditations of our heart, Lord, let them be acceptable in your sight. O Lord, you are our strength and redeemer. Let us work together for the building and the development of our city, your city, Gary, Indiana. In the precious name of our Lord and Savior, we pray. Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown. Councilwoman Caldwell.
Present.
Councilman Halliburton.
Present.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Present.
Councilwoman Latham.
Happy to be here.
Councilman Spencer. Councilman Washington.
Present.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
And President Atkins.
Present.
Madam President, there are 8 present, 1 absent.
With 8 members present and 1 absent, the Gary Common Council does in fact have a quorum to do the business of the city of Gary. Council members, before you should have a copy of the minutes from the previous meeting that took place on September the 17th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve said minutes? Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, colleagues, for the second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington. Yes. Councilman Williams. Yes. And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, the minutes from the September 17th meeting of the Gary Common Council have been approved and ordered into the record. Assignment of council pending ordinances and resolutions.
CPO 2024-61, an ordinance requesting to amend ordinance 9703 to transfer appropriations for Gary police equipment and improvements, sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller, Gary Police Department.
Finance.
CPR 2024-12, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Gary, Indiana, granting waivers of non-compliance pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-11.3 with respect to excess valuation, deductions, tax abatement for depreciable personal property of Alliance Steel Corporation. Sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller Christopher Harris, Executive Director, Department of Redevelopment.
Planning and Development.
Excuse me. CPR 2024-13, a resolution regarding Summer Youth Employment Coordinator, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Human Resources.
Madam President, is pending ordinance and resolutions on assignment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council members, the Finance Committee has before it CPO 2024-61. For the record, I approve this ordinance for reporting out to the council. Councilman Barnes Caldwell. For the record, the majority of the Finance Committee has approved CPO 2024-61 for reporting out. Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. The Planning and Development Committee has before it the following resolution before its review. CPR 2024-12. For the record, I approve this ordinance for reporting out to the council. Council President Atkins.
Yes.
Council Vice President Latham. Yes. For the record, the majority of the Planning and Development Committee has approved council pending resolution 2024-12 for reporting out to the council, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Council members, the Human Resource and Personnel Committee has before it CPR 2024-13. For the record, I approve this resolution for reporting out to the council. Vice President Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Thank you. For the record, the majority of the Human Resources and Personnel Committee has approved CPR 2024-13 for reporting out. Council members, CPO 2024-61 has been reported out from the Finance Committee. Councilman Washington?
CPR 2024-12 is reported out for the council.
Thank you. And colleagues, CPR 2024-13 will be reporting out to the council as well. At this time, is there any member from the public who has signed up for public comment? There has been. And if I'm not mistaken, I also believe that there was a published notification for a couple of ordinances to have a public hearing tonight. I'm going to look at my controller just to confirm, is that correct?
That's correct. There should be the tax-based funds.
Okay. All of them, correct? Well,
Yes, 56 and 57. I
yes,
believe.
ma'am. Okay. So we will do those as well. Tonight, I'm actually going to do the public hearing for the tax-based fund ordinances that were on the agenda. If there is any member of the public who is here to speak for or against CPO 2024-55, which is an ordinance appropriating monies for the purpose of defraying the expenses of the city of Gary, no, that's not right. Is it the redevelopment one? 56 and 57, correct? Okay, my apologies. So it's CPO 2024-56 will be opening at this time the public hearing, and I will read the ordinance. An ordinance approving salaries for the employees of the city of Gary's general, parks, police, fire, LOIT, seated, MVH, police pension, and fire pension tax-based funds for the calendar year 2025. That ordinance is sponsored by the mayor of the city, Mayor Eddie D. Melton, as well as our city controller, Salita Green. At this time, if there's any member of the public who is here to speak for or against that particular ordinance, I would ask you to approach the podium at this time. Going once, going twice. There's no member of the public who is here to speak for or against CPO 2024-56, so I will close the public hearing portion for that ordinance. There was also published on behalf of the city of Gary for there to be a public hearing for CPO 2024-57. I will read the title of that ordinance at this time. An ordinance appropriating monies for the purposes of defraying the expenses of the general, parks, police, and fire lit, seated, CCL, CCD, MVH, LRS, Riverboat Casino, LDA, fire pension, and police pension tax-based funds for the city of Gary, Indiana for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2025, including all outstanding claims and obligations, and fixing a time when the same shall take effect. Again, sponsored by the mayor of the city, Eddie Melton, as well as our city controller, Ms. Salita Green. Is there any member from the public who is here to speak for or against CPO 2024-57? Going once, going twice. At this time, I will close the public hearing portion for CPO 2024-57. We move forward in our agenda. There's members of the public who did sign up to do public speaking for tonight. The members of the rules of the Gary Common Council, is that we allow constituents or members who have signed up to speak, 2 minutes to speak and express your comments. Our parliamentarian, Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell, representing the 5th District, will keep time. We ask that you be respectful to the rules of the Gary Common Council, and when she has notified you that your time is up, that you politely conclude the end of your comments. We have 2 members of the public who signed up. The first, I will call your name in the order that you signed up. The first is Mr. Albert Edwards Jr. You approach the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and then we will start your time. Good afternoon.
My name is Albert G. Edwards Jr., 1765 Roosevelt Street, Gary. I want to talk about that 19th Avenue stop sign again. Four-way, the police did pretty good, but we still need some help there. My mom's 87 years old, and she rides with me, and some of them cars was very scary. Also, I want to talk about 11th and Grant Street, the trucks, which is like a truck junkyard. Can we get some of that removed? It looks terrible down there. We have plenty of trains, cars, and trucks coming through the city all the time. And these patchworks for these railroad crossings are not really acceptable. The citizens of Gary needs to be better. 15th Avenue going to Hammond. It's supposed to have been, per se, tucking up and redid or whatever. 3 potholes have been fixed. One of them, my car found, so I need a front-end alignment. I talked about that at the forum sometime back with the mayor. Also, these buildings being torn down looks good, okay? But we need some more work infrastructure done. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Edwards. The next individual who is signed up to speak is Mr. Jim Nowacki.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the council. My name is Jim Nowacki. I live in the 2nd District. Last council meeting, I spoke about the Lake Sandy Joe, the scandalous contract that was signed by the Redevelopment Commission regarding the Lake Sandy Joe property. After that meeting, the City Council convened a committee meeting of the Economic Development Committee, Development and Economic Development Committee. And at that meeting, there were certain other facts had come to light. As a matter of fact, Corporate Counsel and the Director of Redevelopment Commission spoke on that, and they identified that this contract that had been drafted by the Freeman Milson administration provided no benefit or any safeguards for the city's interest in that transaction. The result of that is that this member of the cartel that had come into the city with Region Growth, it was a part of the Mayaco group, and they had not only been able to execute a contract that had no provisions for benefits for the city, but in fact had millions of dollars of benefits for them personally. Now, the council was able to ask some questions regarding it, but one question that was not answered was this contract. I could say that several years ago I approached the Redevelopment Commission and I asked for a copy of that contract. This was years ago. And the director, Van Dyke, at the time, he laughed in my face. He said, "Mr. Nowacki, you're never going to see that contract." And he laughed in my face. Now, council, I don't believe that that was respectful, and I don't believe people should laugh in my face, and I don't believe that anyone should laugh in the face of this council. So when I tell you that you'll never see that contract, I'm not going to laugh in your face. But if I did laugh in your face, it would be, you'll never see that contract.
Okay, Mr. Nowacki, thank you. We appreciate members of the public engaging with us, and so we do take your comments seriously, and so thank you again. At this time, we'll move forward in our agenda. We do have special and select from my colleagues. Is there any member of the Gary Common Council for special and select? Councilman Barnes-Caldwell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a few announcements. Boards and commissions has a couple of vacancies. The Economic Development Commission has 1 vacancy, and the Advisory Commission for the Status of Black Males has 8 vacancies. If you're interested, please send your resume along with a letter of interest to the Gary Common Council, 401 Broadway, Suite 209. Attention, Linda Barnes-Caldwell. Or you can email it, lcaldwell@gary.gov. Please join the 5th District for a community forum Wednesday, October the 16th at 5:30 at Gary Fire Station number 13. This is at 6212 West 26th Avenue here in the city of Gary. Our special guest will be Public Safety and our precinct committeemen in the 5th District. Lastly, this is October, and we are representing breast cancer awareness. We have our pretty pink on, some of us. So I'm just going to share a couple of facts about breast cancer. Breast cancer is a kind of cancer that begins as a growth of cells in the breast tissue. After skin cancer, breast cancer is the most common cancer diagnosed in women in the United States. But breast cancer doesn't just happen in women. Everyone is born with some breast tissue, so anyone can get breast cancer. Breast cancer survival rates have been increasing, and the number of people dying of breast cancer is steadily going down. Much of this is due to the widespread support for breast cancer awareness and funding for research. 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. Advances in breast cancer screening allow healthcare professionals to diagnose breast cancer earlier. Finding the cancer earlier makes it much more likely that the cancer can be cured. Even when breast cancer can't be cured, many treatments exist to extend life. New discoveries in breast cancer research are helping healthcare professionals choose the most effective treatment plans. Breast cancer screenings includes mammograms, breast ultrasounds, and breast self-exams. There are several ways to reduce your risk of breast cancer, including maintaining a healthy weight, exercising regularly, eating a healthy diet, quitting smoking, because smoking causes at least 15 different cancers, including breast cancer, getting mammograms, breastfeeding. Breastfeeding your children, if possible, can help lower your risk of breast cancer. And then talking to your doctor if you have a family history of breast cancer. There is no sure way to prevent breast cancer, but following some of the things shared might lower your risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell. Any other members, special and select? Vice President Latham?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few announcements. The first I'm very excited about. We will be celebrating HBCU Day at City Hall. And just a piece of HBCU Gary mayoral trivia. Our Mayor Eddie Melton is the first mayor of our city to have attended an HBCU. Did you know that? Similar to our vice president, who's first vice president to attend a HBCU. But we'll celebrate HBCU Day at City Hall on Tuesday, October 22nd at 5 p.m. here at 401 Broadway. Please, all HBCU alumni who are in or close to the city, we want you here wearing your favorite HBCU apparel. I see Ms. Denise Dillard, who's also a HBCU alumni in the audience. So we want to see you here on Tuesday, October 22nd at 5 p.m. On the same day, I'll host my committee meetings. I chair the Air Pollution Advisory Committee that will meet on that same day at 6:30 p.m. and Parks and Recreation at 7 p.m. on the same day. So that's Tuesday, October 22nd. Meet me here at City Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Colleagues, special and select?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilman Williams.
I'm sorry, Madam President. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
The 6th District Community Forum for the month of October will be on Thursday, October 17th at 6 p.m. We're going to move it from the pavilion, hoping to get more of attendance. It will be on 4101 Washington Street at our new warming and cooling center, which is located in the 6th District. So again, the 6th District Community Forum, Thursday, October 17th, 2024, 6 p.m. at the Warming and Cooling Center located at 4101 Washington Street. Also, I want to save the date for the Blind Social Center. Their 9th annual Dining in the Dark Gala fundraiser is approaching. That will be Friday, October 25th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is a ticket event, and it's $60 as a donation. Innsbrook Country Club. The address for that is 6701 Taft Street, Maryville, Indiana. This was 46410, but again, this is a ticket event, and this is the Blind Social Center Dining in the Dark Gala fundraiser. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Any other colleagues, special and select? Councilman Halliburton?
Madam President, thank you. Good evening. Monday, October 7th, we're going to continue on with the Rise and Shine breakfast with myself. This is your chance to share your ideas and learn more about the initiatives happening in your communities for Second District citizens. Again, it's going to take place Monday, October 7th at the Family Life Community Youth Center at between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. And that location will be at 565 Massachusetts. Breakfast will be served, but I must request that you all do your RSVP at 219-881-1315. Also, Veterans Day is coming up in November. The men and women of the Greater Gary AMVETS and I will be hosting a grand evening with a veteran. This will take place on Saturday, November 9th at 4 p.m. at the AMVETS Post number 6, 2060 Clark Road in Gary. We'll provide dinner. Music will be by New Orleans Bow, and we'll be giving out gifts. This is to our veterans. We're asking all of them to please RSVP at 219-881-1315. We're expecting limited sittings to be filled quickly, so get on the phone and make your reservations. We're also asking our mayor to be present if he's not tied up that day, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other colleagues, special and select? Okay. I want to first just say thank you to the constituents and members of the City of Gary, the public who supported my fall food giveaway that took place on Friday, September the 20th, in partnership with Family Life Community Center, the proprietor, CEO, and President LaJuan Clemens. We were able to distribute food to over 230 families. And so that was a great initiative that I was able to partner with him and execute in the heart of our district and amongst the residents of the city. Last night, I had a community meeting that took place at the Y and was able to divert some informative information. I want to thank the presenter last night, Ms. Latoya Whitehead-Reed, who is a former City of Gary employee, but actually currently utilizes her talents at the Social Security Administration in the city of Chicago, Illinois. And so she was able to get some informative information, as we do have an aging population and demographic in the city overall related to Medicaid benefits, eligibility, and to ensure all of the programming that is available to you from a federal standpoint from the Social Security Administration. So thank you, Latoya, for a great and informative meeting. I mentioned that we were able to give out and distribute food to over 230 plus individuals just a week prior, but unfortunately, we did not have a great turnout at the community meeting last night. But I do sincerely appreciate those, in fact, who do continue to support the initiatives that I try to lead on behalf of the constituents in the 4th District. So I would like to thank Mrs. Billingsley, Ms. Karen Simmons, Ms. Jennings, Ms. Mary Owen, Mr. Ed Crocker, and Mr. Lester Stewart for coming out last night and supporting the 4th District community initiatives. I look forward to engaging with you in upcoming conversations and upcoming as well this Saturday. I would like to extend a invite to my colleagues. I will be hosting those pastors who have prominent locations in the 4th District with a faith leadership breakfast this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the YWCA. And so I hope that those who did get that invite are able to come out. We will be talking about how to mobilize as a community in the 4th District and how to leverage other community leaders who have sustainable practices and the role of the Black church in this community as well. We have some important dates coming up. We talked about the election, and so I hope that we could have a discussion on Saturday in terms of how, again, to mobilize collectively to ensure that we have a great turnout for this community on November the 5th. And so, again, I appreciate those constituents who came out last night, and I look forward to engaging with the clergy leadership within the 4th District on Saturday. At this time, I'll ask my colleagues one more time if there's anybody for special and select. If not, we'll move forward in the agenda. Very good. Thank you. Council pending ordinances and resolutions on third and final.
CPO 2024-46, an ordinance reviewing a petition to vacate a public way in the city of Gary located on Illinois Street south of 15th Avenue, 1815 East 15th Avenue, for petitioner Lasta Trans Incorporated, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion to defer CPO 2024-46 until the next common council meeting on October 15th at 6:00 p.m.
Is there a motion to postpone? Okay, motion by Councilman Washington, seconded by Councilman Barnes Caldwell. Is there any discussion, colleagues? Okay. Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-46 has been postponed to the October 15th meeting of the Gary Common Council.
CPO 2024-51, an ordinance amending ordinance number 9446, approving an ARPA spending plan out of revenue loss category for employee incentive program, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to pass CPO 2024-51 on third and final? Okay. Is there a motion to postpone CPO 2024-51 to the October 15th meeting?
Second.
Thank you, colleagues, for the motion and for the second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington. Yes. Councilman Williams.
Yes.
President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-51 has been postponed to the October 15th meeting.
CPO 2024-52, an ordinance for the City of Gary, Lake County, Indiana, authorizing additional appropriations for the American Rescue Plan Act Fund 2487 for employee incentive pay, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to postpone CPO 2024-52 to the October the 15th meeting? Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell, for the motion. Thank you, Councilman Halliburton and Councilman Washington, for the second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer. Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams. And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-52 has been postponed to the October 15th meeting of the Gary Common Council.
CPO 2024-53, an ordinance appropriating monies for the purpose of defraying expenses of the Gary-Chicago Airport Authority of the City of Gary, Indiana, for fiscal year beginning January the 1st, 2025, ending December 31st, 2025, including all outstanding claims and obligations, and fixing the time the same shall take effect. Sponsored by Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Is there a motion to pass CPO 2024-53 on third and final? Okay. Is there a motion to refer CPO 2024-53 back to the Finance Committee? Okay, Councilman Barnes Caldwell for the motion. Thank you, Councilman Washington, for the second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-53 has been referred back to the Finance Committee with a committee hearing set for Tuesday, October the 8th at 5:30 p.m.
CPO 2024-54, an ordinance appropriating monies for the purpose of defraying expenses of the Gary Public Transportation Corporation of the City of Gary, Indiana, for the fiscal year beginning January the 1st, 25 and ending December 31st, 2025, including all outstanding claims and obligations, and fixing in time the same shall take effect. Sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to pass CPO 2024-54 on third and final?
So move.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Is there a second? Is there a second? Thank you, Councilwoman Ivy and Councilman Washington for the second. At this time, I will ask the member from GTPC to just give us a concise and brief overview.
Good evening, Council, and thank you very much. It's been a busy, busy time with GPTC. We have continued to move forward, as we've shown in our fiscal reports. It's definitely moving forward in looking for the matching funds, looking for partners that are willing to come in and work with us. We have been very successful in both. We've got new partners expanding, not new partners so much, but existing partners who are expanding. So as I said earlier, we are welcoming Greyhound. They have started. They are at the site coming through Metro. We're dealing with probably about 25 arrivals and 30 departures. They are working with about 7 to 8 slots from Adams Street to also the Metro. We have moved forward in looking at our fleet. Our fleet started out at about 10 working buses as of 2024. We're up to about 18 now. And we have a request of more because of the regional movement expansion that we've made. We are moving, for instance, and I won't use the abbreviations because every industry has their jargon. We are moving the Broadway bus from 4th Avenue to 102nd in Broadway. So we're going from Gary to Crown Point. As reported earlier, we have as many as 70 people on that bus going into Crown Point because of Amazon. So not only is it an economic recovery situation, but we're seeing that the workforce, as it's starting to get back into movement, they are using surface transit. Surface transit is big across the nation, obviously, and growing because there's been so much that was affected through COVID. So even with Gary, we're not back at those numbers, but we have double-digit increases. And as the report showed that we sent in earlier, 25% in some of those routes. The BMX, which is the Broadway route that I just mentioned, is one of those routes, to the extent that we've got 3 buses running that route. Those buses are coming in between every 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the hours, because there's a demand for it. We're also running a lot of bus traffic through Hammond and Whiting. And again, the expansion of that is not because it's just someplace where the doctors are located or a grocery store is located. It's about the schools. They are looking at Purdue with the new residency hall, as well as in Whiting, St. Joe, Calumet College. Having met with their chancellors, all of them have met to say, what can we do to help? And we're going to give them some suggestions. But certainly we think that the cost of doing business has grown for GPTC. And so that's why we are here today to say, yes, we're going to move forward. We're going to be that hub for Northwest Indiana and keep it moving. The whole idea of surface transit is also important to our environmental issue. And I don't want to leave that out because we are one of the #1 ranked areas for lung disease, kidney disease, cancer. We have the #1 rate in Indiana. And so we must start looking at ways to affect the pollutants that are just destined in this area because of our industries. Our industries have been able to move easily without having to be considerate of the health problems that may have that people have acquired. So as we look at this as a health equity issue, transportation is one of those issues, not only a social determinant, but something that we need to be paying attention to In our school district, one of the biggest reasons for absenteeism is asthma. That is that, and surprisingly, missed transportation. If a child doesn't catch the school bus, they will probably miss that whole day. So that's one of the things that we started working with the school district. How can we help them? They might not get to that first class, but they can get to the second, third, and fourth one if they get on the bus, Gus, and we can help them with that. So we've been working with transportation directors to say, how can we get at our routes so that they are aligned with the various schools that we're having absenteeism issues. And so that's been a very good conversation. We've made some changes in our routes so that we can make sure we can accommodate those children and those parents. And that can be a free ride because it's important that we get them to school. It's important that we make that happen. Some of the other things that we're working with is certainly renovation. And I just want to do a shout out for the city on this one. We're getting ready to get some things done and working towards a renovation for our restrooms on the second floor, which is for our customers, our ridership. But we also have had an escalator that has been out of service for at least a decade. I don't even know how long. But guess what? They're getting repaired. We've gotten the funding for it. We thank the city for supporting us on that because we had to go in front of the consuls like this, but other places to ask for those dollars, but also in the partnerships that are coming. Greyhound was very good about saying, what do you need us to do? And so we're looking at those things and making sure that any corporate person coming in, any corporate company coming in should be a good corporate citizen for Gary, Indiana. And so those are some of the things that we, through GPTC, make sure that we are supporting. We are supporting the city of Gary. Today, I walked into the area and I saw trucks and all kinds of things working on the trees and the area. Thank you. Thank you very much. We were saying we wanted to get things in place. We wanted to start it to make it attractive so people could see that from the highway. And we are starting that process. We are looking at a digital board that will go up on the building so that you can also see various advertising from the Metro Center. So this is some of the things that you're seeing in our budget, not fluff, it's capital projects. That's been a very neglected building for a long time. And so we've renegotiated, and again, I thank the city for allowing us to be part of that and being the property management to say, renegotiate the contracts. We renegotiated those contracts to the benefit of Gary, and then it's moving that Metro building into a better place. If there are any questions specifically, please feel free.
Thank you, Ms. Diller. We appreciate the insight. Colleagues, any questions, comments? Madam Vice President.
Thank you. Ms. Diller, I just want to make sure this is on your radar, the NERC, the TIP funds, the NOFA is out. I know David Wright usually applies for those grants. I just want to make sure those are on your radar and that you all have plans to apply for 26 through 30.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we are looking at it. One of the things, and you would all appreciate this, so we've started what we call the financial roundtable. And with that, the importance of that is looking at grant management, because what we have found, and we found this throughout a number, and I'm sure you're no stranger to it either, that there's a number of grants that you get, and then right before they're getting ready to expire, you find out you haven't spent the money. You haven't spent the money, period. And some of that is because you lose track. You're trying to get the match money. You're trying to make sure projects are done. You're not trying not to overstate. You're trying not to overspend. But just as you're mentioning with NERC, there's a number of grants that have come to us now. And I will tell you, our Region 5 administrator, Kelly Brookins, she is someone that's constantly on my phone now telling us, look, there's money that you can get if you do this.
Do you have match money in this budget?
We have some, part of what we got from the county part of what is being looked at from the city council. Those are two very big pots of match money. We do have, the consul's check is already in the account. So, yes.
Gary is is the only regional bus serving company in the region. So that money couldn't go to many people other than Gary. So I just want to make sure at
Exactly.
least by, I think, the 5th
Fifth,
is when it's due.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Vice President, always for your insightful comments.
Yes.
Any other member from the Gary Common Council, questions or any comments? I just had a request. Ms. Dillard, I don't think you stated the total of the overall budget that you all are seeking for approval. If you can state that for the record.
So we have a 750,000 request that's on our capital expense. And I'm gonna, because I don't even have my glasses, so if you would do that, please.
We're requesting $15,327,703 for 2025. That budget is the exact same number as we requested last year. And as Ms. Dillard pointed out, we're trying to save taxpayers' money. So we're not trying to pad anything. We cut our payroll expenses down so that we can move those funds toward our capital projects, because we are trying to rebuild our fleet and rebuild our facility. So we are trying to do diligently, well-rounding our finances at GPTC. And we're having a good year. We expect a really great year next year.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan.
Thank you.
And Madam President and Council, the 750,000 was involving fleet costs, so forgive me. When you asked the question, I thought you meant what were we asking for in terms of additional funding?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colleagues, any questions? If not, we'll move for vote. Okay, seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-54 has passed and is so ordered.
CPO 2024-55, an ordinance appropriating monies for the purpose of defraying expenses of the Gary Redevelopment Authority of the City of Gary, Indiana for the fiscal year beginning January the 1st, 2025, ending December 31st, 2025, including all outstanding claims and obligations, and fixing a time the same shall take effect. Sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to postpone CPO 2024-55 to the October 15th meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell. Is there a second? Thank you, Councilman Washington, for the second. Any discussion, colleagues? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-55 has been postponed to the October 15th convening of the Gary Common Council.
CPO 2024-56, an ordinance approving salaries for the employees of the City of Gary's General, Parks, Police, and Fire Lloyd seated MVH, Police Pension, and Fire Pension tax-based funds for the calendar year 2025. Sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
I feel inclined to preference these motions or votes that's happening. And so some of these are relative to various budgets for 2025. There's additional discussion that the body would like to have. I wouldn't say issues, but just discussion. And so we're just going to put all of the 2025 budgets that we had to just get some additional clarity on. Some of it we received information over the last couple of weeks, but we haven't had discussion about to the next meeting, and just going to go through all of those at one time at the next meeting. So I just want to try to deter the narrative that there is any tension between the council or any issues that we're not going to work through. I'll say it that way. But we just want to make sure that we have discussions. Okay, is that fair? Okay. Is there a motion to postpone CPO 2024-56? I'm sorry. Am I on 56? Okay, so that was going back to committee. So is there a motion to refer CPO 2024-56 to a Ways and Means Committee that would take place on October the 14th, which is a Monday at 5:30 p.m.? And then we will have the public meeting on Tuesday, October the 15th at 6 p.m.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell. Is there a second? Thank you, Councilman Washington, for the second. Is there any discussions on that? Okay, seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-56 has been referred back to the Ways and Means Committee, with the committee hearing set for Monday, October the 14th at 5:30 p.m., and then a public hearing, or public meeting, I should say, set for Tuesday, October the 15th at 6 p.m. And let me stress that we will work together to ensure that we have the right budget for this city, okay? I want no problems.
CPO 2024-57, an ordinance appropriating monies for the purpose of defraying expenses of the general, parks, police, fire, lit, seated, CCL, CCD, MVH, LRS, Riverboat Casino, LDA, fire pension and police pension, tax-based funds of the city of Gary, Indiana, for the fiscal year beginning January the 1st, 2025, ending December 31st, 2025, including all outstanding claims and obligations, and fixing a time the same shall take effect. Sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salita Green, City Controller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion, again, to refer CPO 2024-57 to the Ways and Means Committee? Committee hearing will be set for Monday, October the 14th at 5:30 p.m.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell. Is there a second? Thank you, Councilman Halliburton, for the second. Is there any discussion, colleagues? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-57 has been referred back to the Ways and Means Committee. Committee hearing set for Monday, October the 14th at 5:30 p.m. Public meeting set for Tuesday, October the 15th at 6 p.m.
CPO 2024-59, an ordinance reviewing a special use permit for property located at 677 Louisiana Street to be used as a home daycare by petitioner Jennifer Watkins. Sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary. Petitioner Jennifer Watkins, 677 Louisiana Street, Gary, Indiana.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for passage of CPO 2024-59.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second. At this time, we'll ask for overview. Attorney Molina, you want to do a short overview?
Good evening, President Atkins and
Good
council
evening.
members. Yes, this ordinance, CPO 2024-59, would grant a special use permit for a home daycare by petitioner Jennifer Watkins. This was zoning is R3 currently. This is an allowable use if it has a special use permit. This went before the Board of Zoning Appeals on July 11, 2024, where a public hearing was held. There was no one against this, and the board passed it unanimously in favor of granting a special use permit. The petitioner is here. One of the requirements is that the petitioner has to be the property has to be used as a residence since it's in a residential area. And that is a requirement that going forward, she continues to use it as a residence in addition to the special use for the home daycare.
Thank you so much, Attorney Molina. Petitioner, would you like to come to the podium just in case? Colleagues, do you have any questions for the petitioner? Councilman Barnes Caldwell?
Ms. Watkins, last week when you met, did you tell us that you owned several houses on that block?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are they occupied? Because that would be, I'm curious.
Yes,
with the
ma'am.
letters that they are.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell. Any other colleagues, questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, I will move for vote at this time. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Councilman Halliburton. Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-59 has been approved and is so ordered. Congratulations, Ms. Watkins.
Thank you. CPO 2024-60, an ordinance reviewing a special use permit for property located at 1121 Whitcomb Street to be used as a home daycare by petitioner Arnisha Fulton, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, petitioner Arnisha Fulton, 1121 Whitcomb Street, Gary, Indiana.
Thank you again, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to, oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Washington?
Thank you, Madam President. I move for passage, council pending orders 2024-60.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Councilman Halliburton and Councilman Barnes Caldwell for the second. At this time, I'll ask for an overview, Attorney Molina.
Good evening again, Council. Very similar to the previous CPO, this is CPO 2024-60 is for the property located at 1121 Whitcomb Street. This property is zoned R2 residential. It would also be used for a home daycare, which is an allowable use if you have a special use permit. This went before the Board of Zoning Appeals for a public hearing on August 15th, 2024. It passed unanimously. Again, it has the same requirement of home occupation by the petitioner, and every year that she would have to prove that she occupies the home in order to continue to use the property for that special use.
Thank you, Attorney Molina. Just to confirm, that was in fact confirmed. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. The petitioner is here, correct?
Yes, she is also here.
Okay. Ms. Fulton, you want to come to the podium? If there's anything you want to add, feel free. If not, then I'll just probe colleagues for any questions. Okay. Council members, any questions or comments? Okay, very good. No, we're good? Okay, very good. So seeing now, we'll move for the roll call at this time. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-60 has passed and is so ordered. Congratulations, Ms. Fulton.
Thank you.
CPR 2024-11, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Gary providing for a hearing and public comment on the transfer sale of certain properties formerly owned by the GUA, sponsored by Christopher Harris, Department of Redevelopment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Washington?
Thank you, Madam President. I move for passage of CPR 2024-11.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second, colleagues. This time, I would ask for an overview from Mr. Harris. Very good.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the council.
Good evening.
Good evening. CPR 2024-11 is an opportunity to have a public hearing, I believe, for, if I'm not mistaken, our council meeting for the first week of November, which I believe may be November 1st. You correct me if I'm wrong. But we're required to provide 30 days notice for a public hearing opportunity before we consider the disposal of a property associated with the GUEA. So again, having and passing this resolution would allow for the public hearing to commence and allow for the petitioner who was awarded this property from the Gary Redevelopment Commission the opportunity to speak and get public comment and have the council have an opportunity to allow us to award this property to the awardee of 304 East 6th Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Give us 1 second.
Sure.
I know it's white noise, so I have.
No worries.
So we okay. Because we discussed it, yeah. So we discussed this in committee, and I think that and Councilman, Mr. Chair, you could help me understand. I think I was under the impression in committee that had already been, that the public notice was already published.
No, and so here, I'm glad you asked that question, Madam President. So no, we needed to establish a date. We never established a date in the committee meeting hearing. So we wanted to establish the date for the public hearing.
Okay. Okay. So this is different. It's no, but we've never seen it like this. I think I was
Okay.
under the impression in the committee meeting, and I'll take ownership for that as well as the president. I'm sorry. I wasn't, I thought that we already published it. Sorry.
No worries.
Just, so I think what we could do, you could still publish the notice, right? If we just go ahead and, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let our attorney speak. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just what's the date that you anticipate that have you already, the date on the notice that you intend for the council to vote on this?
Sure. It would be the first week of November, which I believe the first council meeting for the week of November would be.
It'd be the 5th.
The 5th. So it'd be November 5th.
So yeah, we will make a motion to change, we'll change that meeting either to the 4th or the 6th.
Oh,
Because this election day is the 5th, but.
that's right.
Would November 19th be harmful to your efforts?
If that worked for the council.
The
then
only
that's
reason,
fine.
we've never done it this way before, and I want an opportunity to read the statute.
Sure.
I can have that done before our 15th meeting,
That's fine.
as long as that's not injurious to you.
That's fine.
All right, in that case, Madam Chair, I would ask that you postpone this to the October 15th meeting, and I will give the council my opinion on the ordinance. I'm sorry, on the statute.
Okay, on the statute, and the resolution is just requesting us to allow for the public notice to be given.
Correct. And
But we've already awarded the property, right?
From the redevelopment commission, we just need the approval from the council based on the consent decree from the Attorney General's office.
So, okay, so what are we doing a public notice on if we've already awarded?
So it's the final step that the council needs to approve, and we have to have a public hearing for that effort before the council approves the awarding of the property.
So this was the conversation that we had about the agreement,
correct,
right?
correct.
Okay.
So the board only has the authority to accept the agreement. It rests on the council has the sole discretion through the agreement with the government. The final approval must come from the council. So that's why he's requesting the public hearing. In the past, we simply just did that as a request made by you and an open vote on the council floor. We didn't do it by resolution. And I don't think it's harmful. I don't know. I would like to read it. If I would have known, I would have read it before today. But I didn't know we were bringing it in the resolution form. I thought it would be consistent with how they've done it in the past and just request a date and we take a vote on it.
Sure. I think we were trying to follow the decree as best as possible. Well, we could follow up offline.
Sure, we'll
But-
do that. And again, you've indicated that postponing to the 15th is not harmful, and we will definitely have it resolved by then, much sooner than then, I'm sure.
That's fine.
So, Mr. Chair, would you like to rescind your previous motion and restate a new
Yes, Madam
motion?
Chair. I'll move to withdraw the previous motion, and the current motion now is to postpone council pending resolution 2024-11 until the October 15th meeting at 6:00 p.m.
Thank you, Councilman Washington, for the motion. Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell, for the second. Just all council members are clear. Is there any need for any additional discussion? Not, I'll move for vote. Okay, seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy. Councilwoman Latham. Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPR 2024-11 has been postponed to the October 15th meeting of the Gary Common Council.
Madam President, it's pending ordinances and resolutions on third and final.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council pending orders and resolutions on second reading.
CPO 2024-61, an ordinance requesting to amend ordinance 9703 to transfer appropriations for Gary Police equipment and improvements, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The Finance Committee would like to make a motion to, I guess I'm trying to look to see, I think that we just made a committee hearing for finance. I just can't remember what date it was. I think it was October the 8th at 5:30 p.m. Okay. Yes, it is. Okay, I move for passage of CPO 2024-61 on second reading with a committee hearing set for Tuesday, October the 8th at 5:30 p.m. here in the council chamber, with a subsequent public meeting set for Tuesday, October the 15th at 6 p.m. again here in the council chamber. Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell, for the second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams. President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPO 2024-61 has been referred to the Finance Committee hearing that will be set for Tuesday, October the 8th at 5:30 p.m.
CPR 2024-12, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Gary, Indiana, granting waivers of noncompliance pursuant to Indiana Code 6.1-12.1-11.3 with respect to excess valuation deductions tax abatement for the depreciable personal property of Alliance Steel Corporation, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller Christopher Harris, Executive Director of Redevelopment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Washington?
Thank you, Madam President. I move for passage of CPR, I move for passage of CPR 2024-12 on second reading with a Planning and Development Committee hearing scheduled for Tuesday, October 8th at 6:00 p.m. with a public hearing scheduled for Tuesday, October 15th at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Councilman Washington, for the motion. Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell, for the second. Any discussion, colleagues? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell. Yes. Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham.
Yes.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Atkins.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPR 2024-12 has been referred to the Planning and Development Committee hearing set for Tuesday, October the 8th at 6 p.m.
CPR 2024-13, a resolution regarding Summer Youth Employment Coordinator, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Melton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller.
Thank you again, Madam Clerk. I move for passage of CPR 2024-13 on second reading, with the committee hearing set for Tuesday, October the 8th at 5:45 p.m., and a public hearing set for Tuesday, October the 15th at 6 p.m., both here in the council chambers. Thank you, Councilman Barnes Caldwell, for the second. Any discussion, colleagues? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Caldwell? Yes. Councilman Halliburton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Latham?
Yes.
Councilman Spencer?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
President Atkins?
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8 yeas and 0 noes, CPR 2024-13 has been referred to the Human Resource and Personnel Committee, hearing set for Tuesday, October the 8th at 5:45 p.m., with a public hearing set for Tuesday, October the 15th at 6 p.m.
Madam President, is pending ordinance and resolutions on second reading.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Colleagues, actually, Madam Vice President, can you restate your committees that you set dates for at the beginning?
Sure. Tuesday, October 22nd, will be our Air Pollution Advisory Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m., and Parks and Recreation will be on the same date, Tuesday, October 22nd at 7 p.m.
Councilwoman, could you make your meetings virtual?
Sure.
Okay. So I just asked our staff just to ensure that do we have to restate that? Is there? Yeah, hybrid, I should say, is the right word. So hybrid option for both of those, and just ensure that our media team will be set up for that on the 22nd. And thank you for the flexibility, Councilwoman. This time, I'll entertain any questions or comments of city officials from the body of the Gary Common Council. Councilman Barnes Caldwell.
Hey, Mayor Milton, how are you?
Well,
You said well? Okay. I don't want you to take this as I'm fussing. I was a little disappointed that Finance and Ways and Means didn't get a chance to sit down and discuss the budget. And last week, when we were going over the budgets, one of your staff members was totally disrespectful. Upon presenting her budget, when I asked her a few questions, she referred to me, told me to ask the mayor. I've been sitting on this council since 2015. Nobody has ever talked to me that way, to ask the mayor. You're presenting your budget. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get asked questions. Didn't like it. Former Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson told me once, one of her employees sent me an email, and her comment when she saw it was, they're not informing you of anything. I've told them, I'm not gonna let you all mess up my relationship with the council. I don't want our relationship messed up because your employees are doing what they think they wanna do. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman, thank you so much. Any other colleagues, any comments or questions for the administration overall or city officials? Okay, seeing none, I appreciate your engagement, colleagues, tonight. Mayor Melton, thank you for joining us as well tonight. Do you have any comments that you would like to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Well, first, let me just thank the council for working with us and moving back those ordinances to work out some finer details, especially around the incentive pay that we're trying to make sure our law enforcement and every other emergency management professional and all of our hardworking citizens that work for the city should receive. So working out those minor details and every other ordinance that was pushed back. Let me address Councilwoman Linda Barnes Caldwell. If I'm happy to talk about that offline and learn more about whatever issue or concern that is, so we don't have to publicly address that. But I'll leave that there. On some updates, let me make sure that I just touch on some key points. I've asked our city engineer to come before the council to provide an update on several projects, one in particular being the streetlights to make sure that the street light program that we approved through ARPA, that we give this body an update on the progress of what that looks like, all of the equipment that has been ordered in preparation to deploy that throughout the entire city. So I want to make sure that the citizens know that that's something that is under works. Also want him to talk more about the assessment of the street paving and the PACER rating that has been assessed. So we should get that data back from our engineering company that's been helping us assess those roads and the curbs. And there's a curb aspect as well that we want to make sure through all our neighborhoods that we know what the strategy is and we can communicate with the citizens on making those repairs. Again, I'm happy that GPTC came forth and to kind of share some of the updates that we've been collaborating with them on. Definitely want to encourage everyone to come out this Thursday for the press conference that we have individuals, Congressmember Van, Commissioner Kyle Allen, and several other leaders that's going to be here. I believe, Councilwoman, you'll be there as well to talk about the expansion of services that we've been working on throughout the region. I want to encourage folks to participate and support the Gary International Black Film Festival that's coming up next week. That's a tremendous and phenomenal event that we as a community should continue to support. Every year it continues to grow, and that's something that I'm looking forward to supporting as well and showing the support from the city perspective. Want to encourage folks to look up a couple of positions that we have open. We'll be, because of a grant that we receive from Bloomberg Foundation, we'll be hiring a fellow and a Vista to help us implement our Love Your Block program. That's a national program that has been deployed here in Gary before, but we have a new grant that we want to thank the Bloomberg Foundation, the Bloomberg Philanthropies for that effort. So just stay tuned for more information on that. But we want to encourage individuals to go to the City of Gary website and feel free to apply for those two positions. We have a community forum that we're planning October 30th at Indiana University Northwest at the Berglund Auditorium from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And happy to invite the entire community to come out to express concerns and issues. We're going to keep the same format that we had at the previous forum that we hosted in the 3rd District, which we're going to bring our departments out. We're going to make them available for individuals to bring specific concerns and issues to speak face-to-face with those agencies to get information about any issue in the neighborhood, be it streetlights, be it illegal dumping, or just something as far as code enforcement. So we'll have every department represented there in the hallway at Indiana University Northwest. That gives folks an opportunity to engage with the team. We have a free soccer camp. We want to encourage families to come out on October 5th. It's going to be behind the old Gilroy football stadium, the Gilroy Field, that is 3000 Harrison Street. We want to encourage the children of the City of Gary to come out between the times of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then that pretty much wraps up some of the issues, but I want to touch on a couple of things that was also on the agenda as we look to work with our director, Christopher Harris, on the properties at GUEA. I think it's important to know that we're going to look in a more holistic perspective as we move forward and how we can kind of move this thing forward, because this has been lingering for a number of years, and we want to start putting a more strategic and intentional plan on making sure that we put those properties back on the tax roll. So wanted to share that piece of it. And again, open to answer any questions as we continue to kind of chip away at this budget process, asking council members to do not hesitate to reach out if you got questions or concerns to talk about. And again, if you have any issues similar to what Linda Barnes, Caldwell, Councilwoman of the 5th District mentioned, feel free to bring it to me directly so we can address that. I'm not any other administration. I can't replicate what has been done in the past, and we're going to do it how we see is best, but we want to make sure that our communication is effective if there's any concerns moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Any other colleagues before? Any comments? Vice President Latham?
Thank you for the report, Mayor. Just the same heads up, that I gave to Ms. Dillard, make sure the NERC, NOFA, the transportation planning for 26 to 30 is just on the administration's radar. That's all of the complete streets money, paving, repair, bridge money, anything related to transportation. But the application is due on October 18th. I'll send you the link with the date, the deadline.
I'm on the NERC board, so like, yeah.
I want to make sure our projects are included.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Any other colleagues, Councilman Washington?
Yes, Madam President. I am looking at an article from the Indiana Economic Digest on February 20th, 22. And it states that Gary Okay's plan for Lake Sandy Joe project, this is an opportunity for us to do something here. Approval was granted for a zoning change for a proposed 40 million light industrial development on 14 acres at the former Lake Sandy Joe Superfund site in Gary, paving the way for the next steps of the proposed project to move forward. So this was back in 22. There are many new council members on the council. And I know Mr. Harrison, when he gave his presentation through planning and development, he did tell us that Nick Anderson would be more than willing to come before the council to explain what's going on with the Lake Sandy Joe project, because I think also the new administration should also have some questions and also be updated on what's going on, because this happened in previous administrations. But I keep hearing about new development projects and there's nothing being done. If I'm not mistaken, I just recently saw a for sale sign at the Lake Sandy Joe site. So I have a lot of questions regarding if this was something that was supposed to be on the works, if the property was sold. I think that Mr. Anderson should come before the council and kind of explain and get us all up to date on what the current plans are for Lake Sandy Joe, because there's been so much about it. And I think many of us here on the council kind of don't have all the information. And I would like to have the information for as chairman of planning and development. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll work with your administration to kind of schedule a date that would be appropriate. I'm thinking sometime in November to be able to have a presentation at planning and development on, what's the status of Lake Sandy Joe. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any other members? Last comments? Okay, well, seeing none, appreciate the interaction with the mayor, and I appreciate all the comments of my colleagues respectfully. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, colleagues, for the motion. Meeting adjourned.